What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is now Monday afternoon after the weekend camping trip that we did in West Virginia out at New River Gorge National Park. You probably saw in the video that I had these lights on the front, but surprise, right now they're not actually wired up. So that's what we're going to be doing today. These are Baja Designs LP6s, and here is the wiring harness for them. So just a little tip for you guys, it comes with two connectors already, so you do not need to buy two of them like I did. So what we're going to be doing is hooking that up today. But another thing we're going to do, because it rained while we're there, is going to air out the tent, so that way it can dry and not get mildewy. So what I'm going to do is set that up, put a little time lapse up for you so you can kind of see how the setup process goes, and then we'll jump right into the install. Alright, so we got the tent open. We're just going to let it air dry while we're working on the lights. So now let's go ahead, get the hood popped, and I'll show you how we're going to do this. Alrighty, so right now, as you can see, I'm no longer running the short light bar, and I have installed a switch panel. So here is the fuse box for the switch panel. This is from AUXBEAM. It's like 150 bucks. I can put the link in the description if you guys are interested. So basically how we're gonna do this. So if you look, we have different level of fuses here. So we're gonna save the 230s for our light bar that's gonna go on the roof. We're gonna use the 220s for the LP6s. So the LP6s have a high beam and a low beam. So one of these is going to be low, one of these is going to be high. And then we'll just basically, we're going to cut the wiring harness. So just that the cable runs from the lights, both lights, all the way up to the fuse box. And then if you guys are interested, the cable for the switch panel, I have it running straight down, and then I have it going right through here into this grommet, which I need to reinstall because it came out while I was driving that trail. And then inside, I routed it through the passenger side on purpose in order to be able to mount it up here, which I wanted to, so it'd be easier to access than it was down there before. But basically, so I ran it in through that firewall. It basically comes in from up in here, and then I just run the cable all the way up through here, through the headliner, and then I drilled a hole in the back of this panel, and then there's a hole and the wire just kind of runs right through. So super easy. But now let's figure out how this wiring harness is going to go. Alright guys, so here is our harness. I kind of took away some of the weather stripping. So these are the wires we're going to use here. So yellow is going to be for our backlight, red is going to be our low beam, white is our high beam, and then black is obviously our negative. So what I'm going to do basically is just cut all of these, and then I'm going to wire the backlight into a light that already comes on when I turn on my running lights with my ignition on the inside. And then we're going to run our low beam to one of our switches and our high beam to another switch. Now They recommend that you use an on-off-on switch, but my switch panel does not have that option, so that's why we're going to use two separate switches, one for low beam and one for high beam. But make sure that if you do this, that you do not power both on at the same time. That would be very bad, so don't do that. So anyway, let's hop into it. Let's cut these up and let's get wiring. Alright, so because we're going to use two switches, I split up my ground cable so that each switch can have a ground like that, and I'm going to go ahead and put some electrical tape over that, keep that nice and insulated, and then we can go ahead and hook these up to the switch. Alright, so both of our grounds are hooked in. Now, we need to hook in our high beam and our low beam. Alright, all of our wires are hooked in. Now we just need to hook up our backlight. Make sure nothing's pinched. There we go. So we got high beam and low beam. And then now we just need to hook up our backlight. Alright, so I stripped away a little bit of my running light. Now, just going to attach our new wire to the backlight for the LP6s. And then we will put some electrical tape around it, as always. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's kind of what we're looking like. I'm probably going to put some more on real quick. And then we will plug it all in and test it out, make sure it all works. Okay, real quick. And 1 and 2. Both lights are plugged in now. Obviously, we're going to reroute this wiring, but let's test it out. All right, so the backlight's working. Let's test the high beams and the low beams now. All right, so this is just my normal headlight setup without any high beams or low beams. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the low beam first. All right, so this is our low beam. Now we're gonna turn on the high beam. Now remember, because we're not running one switch, we have to turn off the low beam first and then turn on the high beam. And there's our high beam. We got all 6 lights on in the LP6s. Everything is running perfectly just how we want it, so let's go ahead and clean up our wiring. Man, I really do love it when it works out perfectly the first time. I was a little skeptical because I've never done wiring like this. This is my first light hooking up to the switch panel, but it worked out perfectly, made it super easy. So let's go ahead. We're gonna, obviously we got a ton of cable here for our lights, so we're gonna go ahead and zip tie that up a little bit, clean it all up, and then we'll be done. How about that? All right, so all of our wiring is now cleaned up. I bunched it all up, put it down the side there. All the zip ties zip tied up. Got my grill back on. And basically, I just had the wires poking up in between the bumper and the grill. Now, we get to go put on some fun stickers so that we know which lights are which. All right, so here is my switch panel inside. Obviously, these other switches aren't accounted for yet. We do have a roof light bar that's coming soon. That's gonna be these 2 lights here, and I'll show you why it's gonna be 2 lights when we get there. But for now, here are LP6 lights, left and right. So the far right is gonna be our low beam, and then the next one to the left is gonna be our high beam. So again, can't stress this enough, because I'm not doing an on-off on switch, I have to make sure that these are both not on at the same time. Only one at a time, otherwise bad things happen. Okay, so these are the stickers that I have down here. Obviously there's not going to be a high beam and a low beam option, so I picked the best 2 to suit my needs. So we have the bumper and then the grill. So to me, the bumper light sounds like it's going to be brighter. Grill light sounds like it's going to be a little bit more dim, so that's kind of how I chose it. So again, high beam, low beam, not on at the same time. Very important, not on at the same time. All right, guys. So that about does it for today. Did a little install video. Went a lot more smoothly than I anticipated. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video helpful at all in any way, please give a thumbs up, and don't forget to share and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We do have merch available now. If you go to conhack21.com, we got t-shirts, sweatshirts, tank tops, a couple stickers available for you. If you guys want to support the channel, and I would really appreciate it, go ahead and check it out, grab something for yourself, and rep the brand. All right, guys, that'll be it for this one. Take care. Peace.